you ever feel like you're faking it as a designer? Like one day someone's going to expose you for not being as skilled as everyone thinks you are? Well, guess what? You're not alone. Imposter syndrome is something that every designer faces at some point, even the most experienced ones. You might think you don't belong in the design world, or that you're not good enough for the projects you're working on. Those thoughts are normal, and today we're going to break down why they happen and how you can turn them into fuel for your next big design project. Hey dudes, I'm Brom, and after 20 years working in design in one form or another, and occasionally Googling how to become a better designer, I can tell you that imposter syndrome is a challenge that doesn't care how many clients you've worked with or how many accolades you've earned. So let's talk about why imposter syndrome hits us hard, how we can fight back, and how we can use it to become better designers. So what is imposter syndrome? It's that little voice in your head that constantly nags at you saying you don't belong here, or that you're not worthy of the projects you're working on, or that you're just pretending to be a designer until someone figures it out. Did you know that 25 to 30% of high achievers struggle with imposter syndrome? Yep. Even the most successful ones you stalk on LinkedIn. One of the most comforting things I learned about imposter syndrome is that it's tied to our cognitive biases. Our brains are hardwired to focus on negative experiences. It's a survival mechanism we inherited from our ancestors. Back in the day, if we didn't pay attention to the dangers lurking around us, like a predator sneaking up behind us, we'd be lunch. So our brains became really good at spotting threats and problems. Fast forward to today, and while we don't have to worry about things like saber-toothed tigers, our brains still prioritize negative experiences. That's why it's so easy to get stuck focusing on one mistake or flaw in our own work, while totally ignoring all the amazing things we've accomplished. Research shows this is natural and just a part of being human. In the book, Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear, Elizabeth Gilbert reinforces this idea by reminding us that fear is just a part of creativity. It's about continuing to create despite it. Now you're probably thinking, why does this happen? Why do we get these feelings of inadequacy, especially when we know we're skilled? Well, here's where it gets interesting. As I said before, our brains are hardwired to notice negative things. You could win 10 design awards, but if you mess up on a single project, yep, that's the one that defines you now. Forget the other 9. And that's how imposter syndrome sneaks in. It gets worse when you see other designers posting their perfect designs on social media, making you think, great, I'll never be that good. The truth is, everyone's faking it a little bit. Even that designer who's always posting 10-minute hacks probably spends way more than 10 minutes fixing the messes they've made. We're all just trying to figure it out. This constant comparison to others plays right into imposter syndrome. Social media really amplifies this because when you're scrolling through Instagram or Dribble, you're seeing everyone's highlight reel, not their behind-the-scenes struggles. But remember, those struggles are happening for everyone, even the ones who seem to have it all together. In the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, she talks about how a fixed mindset can lock us into self-doubt, whereas a growth mindset encourages us to embrace challenges. She says, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. A fixed mindset creates a need for validation. A growth mindset lets you focus on improving. It's the need for validation that often holds us back, rather than focusing on our own growth. So how do we get past those feelings of imposter syndrome? Here's the good news. We can actually use it to fuel growth. Yes, you can use that nagging self-doubt to actually become a better designer. Here are 3 things I try and do to remove that imposter syndrome from my own head. Recognize thought patterns. The first step is to recognize when imposter syndrome is sneaking in. You're working on a project and you suddenly think, I'm not good enough for this. That's imposter syndrome right there. Recognize it and then call it out for what it is. It's just a nasty little trick that your brain is playing on you. Challenge it. I might not be perfect, but I earned this spot. Reframe your mindset. Instead of thinking, I'm faking it, think of it as you're still growing. Every time you feel like you're an imposter, remind yourself that you're on a journey. And in a few months, that project that you're stressing over now, you'll look back and think, why was I worried about that? Yes, I've done this too. We all have. And the truth is, there is no such thing as a perfect designer. Sorry, Instagram. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate them all, even the small ones. Finished a project? Celebrate it. Got a thumbs up from a client? Give yourself a high five, even if it is only from yourself. I've had to remind myself to slow down and look at the progress I've made, rather than just jumping straight into the next thing. That moment of self-appreciation can really kick imposter syndrome to the curb, faster than you can say pixel perfect. At the end of the day, imposter syndrome doesn't have to hold you back. It's something we all face as designers, but it doesn't define us. The key is recognizing that these feelings are just a natural part of the journey. The more you challenge those thoughts, the more capable and confident you'll feel. So the next time you start feeling like an imposter, just remember, you're not a fraud, you're a designer in progress. I know I still am. And don't forget to give yourself some credit for everything you've accomplished so far, because the journey is way tougher than it looks on social media. Anyway, if this video helped, check out this next one here for more design tips and insights for helping you level up your design game. And let me know how you deal with imposter syndrome in the comments. Until next time, keep calm, stay creative, and I'll see you soon. In the book, Big Magic, Creating Blah 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 Blah,